Far Far West running on the Xbox Ally X. This is an indie title that's been trending well on Steam, and after playing the demo during the Steam Next Fest where performance just wasn't that great, the early access version is a major improvement. I'm going to be going over the performance, the gameplay, as well as the settings I'm using so you know exactly what to expect. If you enjoyed handheld performance tests like this and you would like to see more, definitely go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and now let's get into it. So I'm going to be going ahead and starting with the settings first, then moving into gameplay. If you just want to see gameplay, you could definitely skip this portion here. This is going to give you a clear idea about how everything is pretty much set up. In order to access the settings, we're going to go ahead and press start, then go to options. The display mode I have is set to window. Since full screen was causing some issues for me, this may not be the problem for you, but it was for me. Resolution is set to 1920 by 1080. VSync I currently have off, but if you want, you can enable it if you notice some type of screen tearing. Frame rate I have set to 120, though you can definitely go ahead and cap this at 60 for more consistency. Motion blur is turned off, and that's also a preference of your own if you want to go ahead and turn that on for yourself. Upscaling I have set to AMD FSR, set to performance. You can switch this to balance if you're running at a higher wattage like 35 watt and you want better visuals. Frame generation is off and not really needed for this game, but you could definitely go ahead and toggle that on if that's something that you prefer as well. For the quality settings, I have everything set to high. Ragdoll count is reduced from 10 to 5 and luminance illumination is enabled. If you're playing at 35 watt turbo mode or even 25 watts, you could definitely go ahead and push the textures and post-processing up to very high without any major issues. Now moving into performance, I'm going to be starting off with 17 watt performance mode first, which is going to be the gameplay you see here. Everything is still going to be set at 1080p high settings, and the game still holds around 60 FPS in most open areas. It would occasionally dip to about mid 50s, but it stays very stable overall. Definitely bounces between 50 to 60 FPS, occasionally going a little bit higher or a little bit lower. I also have to mention that I am playing on solo, so of course if you're playing in a group of 4, you more or less might have a little bit less FPS because of the added enemies as well as the added characters on screen. However, 17 watts is definitely playable and probably more recommended in my opinion as a way to preserve battery and still keep up the performance that's necessary for this game. Now, if battery life is not a problem for you, you can definitely bump this up to 25 watts. You will get a noticeable boost. Performance jumps into the 70 to 80 FPS range with occasional spikes even higher depending on the scene. So you are going to see about a 10 to 15 FPS gain going from 17 watts to 25 watts. Now, of course, if you're plugged in and you have no worries for battery life whatsoever, 35 watt turbo mode is your go-to. Especially during heavier scenes like a boss fight, performance stays still around the 60 to 70 range. Of course, the boss fight is going to be a little bit more chaotic, a little bit more visual effects on screen, which is why the FPS does take a little hit compared to 25 watts. Of course, if you're just roaming around the map and playing casually without going into the boss fight, then you are going to see about the same as the 25 watt mode. Across all the modes, 1080p high settings consistently delivers a strong experience. Even at 17 watts, dipping into the mid 40s during chaotic moments is still very playable. If needed, you can also definitely go ahead and lower a few settings, but it's not required and this is still a good experience either way. Now, in terms of the overall gameplay, I didn't really notice any major stutters or consistent hitching. For an early access game, it runs surprisingly well. There is one problem to be aware of, however, that I've noticed and can actually replicate. On launch, the controller may not respond in the menu, so it's a little hard to get into a game because of that. The workaround is to switch from controller mode to desktop mode and then use the cursor to select something. Then go ahead and switch back to controller mode, and after that, it should function normally. I'm not sure if the developers are aware of this problem, if it's just something I'm experiencing, or if there's an update to already fix this, but every time I try to launch into the game from just the startup menu, I have this problem here, but once the game is start up, that no longer becomes an issue after I fixed it. Aside from that little minor issue, the game looks and runs well, the art style stands out, and considering this was made by a very small team, the performance is impressive. Overall, Far Far West is a big step up from the demo that I tried back on Steam Next Fest. It runs smoothly on the Xbox Ally X across multiple power profiles and is easily recommended if you're looking for something new to play on the handheld. That's going to be it for this one. If you happen to have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And if this video helped you out or you liked it, definitely go ahead and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.